Hi, thanks for watching and joining me today, Friday, July 3rd, 2020. Today is Friday, Fact Check Friday. So the third story today is a fact check. Stick around for that. It deals with the Democratic Party and the KKK. But first, I want to get to what could be one of the biggest heists of all times. UK court blocks Maduro's bid to access $1 billion in Venezuelan gold. Now, this biased report is from CNN Business. Venezuela's embattled ruler, Nicolás Maduro, has been denied access to roughly $1 billion in gold reserves held by the Bank of England after a UK court ruled that the British government has recognized Juan Guaidó as president. Venezuela's central bank, which is still controlled by Maduro's government, had sued the Bank of England seeking access to $1 billion in gold reserves that it said would help the country cope with coronavirus pandemic. Venezuela intended to liquidate the gold to purchase healthcare supplies and food through the United Nations Development Program, according to court documents. But the British government, along with the U.S. government and dozens more worldwide, recognized Guaidó, rather than Maduro, as Venezuela's legitimate leader. Venezuela's political turmoil stems from 2018 when Maduro secured another sixth term in presidential elections, widely viewed as a sham. The High Court in London ruled against the cash-strapped Maduro government on Thursday, with Judge Nigel Tier saying that Guaidó has been, quote, unequivocally recognized as president of Venezuela by the UK government. The bank holds around 400,000 bars of gold in its vaults, worth over $200 billion, according to its website. That makes it the second largest keeper of gold in the world, right after the New York Federal Reserve. So this isn't a shock to anyone. The UK, the United States, many Western countries have conspired against Venezuela. They have ruled that Juan Guaidó is the rightful president, but is that true? No, it's absolutely not true. He's not popular in his own country. At the time of the election, I think he wasn't even recognized by 20% of the country in Venezuela. He's much more popular among the Washington, D.C. elites. He went to George Washington, Ivy League schools and think tanks, all kinds of places that CIA hacks hang out. He's very popular. But he did not win an election. He's not the rightful president of Venezuela. This is a total fraud. Anytime I bring up Venezuela on this platform, the video pretty much gets hidden. So I really need your help. If you like the video today, please share it with someone, because it's definitely not going to get recommended to anyone new. But what happened was, Venezuela has all this gold, $1 billion worth of gold in London. And they've said, we want to sell this gold so that we can get medical supplies for coronavirus to take care of our people. And the judge decided, nope, not going to happen. Juan Guaidó, the CIA hack, the Beto O'Rourke of Venezuela, is the rightful president. Why he's the rightful president? He didn't even participate or encourage participation in the last election. The last election happened. Maduro wanted international observers, said, yeah, you can audit the vote. And Guaidó knew that he would lose, and so he encouraged no one to participate. And then because he didn't participate, they said that the election was invalid. It's nonsense. This is absolute nonsense, but you're not going to get the story from American media because they all puppet CIA talking points. It's insane. But anyway, I think it's really sad that Venezuela cannot get money to help its citizens now in need during this pandemic because they're keeping the gold for a CIA stooge. It's ridiculous. There's a war going on over Kamala Harris's Wikipedia page with unflattering elements vanishing. This is from The Intercept. California Democrat Senator Kamala Harris is widely seen as a frontrunner for a spot on the ticket with presumptive nominee Joe Biden. With vetting well underway, presidential vetting operations have entire teams of investigators, but for the public, when the pick is announced, the most common source of information about the person chosen is Wikipedia. And there, a war is broken out over how to talk about Harris's career. At least one highly dedicated Wikipedia user has been scrubbing controversial aspects of Harris's tough-on-crime record from her Wikipedia page, her decision not to prosecute Steve Mnuchin for mortgage fraud-related crimes, her strong support of prosecutors in Orange County who engaged in rampant misconduct, and other tidbits such as her previous assertion that is, quote, "It is not progressive to be soft on crime," unquote, that could prove unflattering to Harris as the public first gets to know her on the national stage. The edits, according to the page history, have elicited strong pushback from Wikipedia's volunteer editor brigade and have drawn the page into controversy, though it's a fight the pro-Harris editor is currently winning. And again, another story that surprises absolutely nobody. Wikipedia is going hard to erase the record of Kamala Harris. That's what they do. That's what they do. In fact, founders of Wikipedia says that the site now is totally biased. We see this all the time, but it doesn't surprise me at all. It is interesting because I wouldn't think that Kamala Harris would even have a chance at being VP, but apparently someone thinks that she does. But if Kamala Harris were to become the vice presidential nominee, I think Trump could probably just play that Tulsi Gabbard clip from last year, and that'd be the end of her.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
So, as it is Fact Check Friday, today's Fact Check, I just pulled something from social media. I've seen this many, many times, and the claim is that the Democratic Party started the KKK, and that's how it started. And there's a little confusion about this. Now, the fact checkers, when they fact check it, they nitpick about things and then just make the entire thing false, which is a really disingenuous interpretation of what happened. So the claim is that the Democratic Party founded the KKK. That's going to be the claim that I'm going to examine today. And if we look back in history, the Democratic Party was popular in the South. It was popular for slave owners. The KKK was started as a little social club and it expanded. The Republican Party at the time started to oppose slavery. Obviously, many things can change over 150 years or whatever, but the thing... Now, many things can change over 150 years. It's a totally different world that we're in. The Democratic Party then is not the same Democratic Party now. The Republican Party then is not the same Republican Party that it is now. I don't think anything is the same. The United States then isn't the same as the United States now. They're totally different, okay? The people that started the KKK were Democrats. Were all Democrats in the KKK? No, of course not. Was it officially sanctioned by the leadership of the Democratic Party? No, it wasn't. Was it popular with some Democrats? Yes. Hashtag not all. But what I see is people on both sides exaggerating what the other side was doing. Look, the KKK was started by some Democrats. Some Democrats were in the KKK. Did they officially coordinate? There's no evidence that they officially coordinated. Could there have been some coordination? Yeah, of course there could have been. Sure. I don't know why this even matters, though, because we're in a totally different world now. That was so long ago. There's nuance to it, right? You know, I hope you get it. If you can't get it, I don't know what to tell you. But if the claim is that the Democratic Party started the KKK, I would say no. It's complicated. Okay, that would be my ruling on that one. Montrealer 15 gets article in New England Journal of Medicine. This is from Cano.com. Thomas F. Carey was on a school bus with his classmates returning from seeing a play in early March when he received a message confirming that he was going to be published in the New England Journal of Medicine. The 15-year-old couldn't tell anyone around him as the news was under embargo. Now, everyone knows. On Wednesday afternoon, the journal published an article, Infections Associated with Re-Sterilized Pacemakers and Defibrillators. Carey is the youngest principal author ever to have an article in the prestigious publication. He was helping out a long-running project begun by Dr. Raphael Castan in 1983, in which used pacemakers and defibrillators were sent to countries including Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, Cuba, and Ecuador to be used by patients in need. In many countries, such machines are thrown out after being used. The ultimate conclusion of the study is basically that it's safe to use re-sterilized pacemakers and defibrillators, Carey noted. The team at the MHI told him that his findings constituted a scientific breakthrough and led the charge to get it published. So with this positive story here, the last story of the day, did the 15-year-old write every word all by himself and got it published in the Journal of Medicine? Probably not. His dad's a cardiologist, so he may have had some help, but it doesn't really matter. I'm sure he did a lot of work on it, and that's cool. The main idea with this is it safe to take pacemakers and things like that, sterilize them, and then use them in someone else's body? And it turns out that yes, it is safe. And they ran some tests, and that's what they determined. But what would happen is people would die. They would be sent to the funeral home, and the funeral home would remove the pacemaker, and then it would go somewhere. They'd sterilize it, and they'd send it to third world countries that could really use pacemakers, and the people couldn't afford them. So it really helped save lives, save thousands of lives. The fact that this kid got interested in this topic and wrote up a paper and got it published, I think that's great news. It's much more than what I was doing when I was 15. So there's that. But let me know what you think about this story or any of the other stories I talked about today. And I hope you have an awesome weekend. Peace.